And yes, there is only one way to properly clean out your mud tires. What's up, guys? So as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we are finally going to be doing an in-depth review on the Gripmax MaxGrip MT tires. So these things came out a couple of months ago. We were, I think, the very first ones to showcase these tires in this specific size, 35, 12, 50, 24. And I've seen all the comments asking for a review because a lot of y'all wanted to get my input on them before you spend your hard-earned money. But I didn't want to just immediately do the YouTuber thing and be like, oh, I've got to be first, so I'm just going to put this video out without actually having knowledge on them. So I decided to pump the brakes, go ahead and live with the tires for a while. And so we've got hundreds of hours with them, probably not hundreds of hours. We've got a long time spent driving with the tires, thousands of miles. And so I feel like I have a really good idea of how these tires actually perform. So we've got our checklist here and we're going to just run through it, rate them 1 to 10. And then you see the bottom question. It's always the goated question. Are they better than mud graps? Because honestly, these things are like everybody was joking, called them grappineers, because they're like a grap and a pioneer mixed together. Are these the new mud graps for an affordable price? Don't know. We'll have to decide at the end of this list. But I have up front really enjoyed them. I think they're a super cool looking tire and they definitely have some perks, but they're not perfect. So let's just start up here at the top with looks. Now, looks is definitely going to be the biggest personal preference category on this list because I could love the way a tire looks and you could hate that exact same tire. But I'm assuming if you clicked on this video, you probably do like the way these tires look, and I'm going to give my opinion on them in just a second. But I will say you do have to be careful on this specific tire because depending on what size wheel you get, you might not get any side lugs, which is really, really bizarre. Typically, all your mud tires and stuff, no matter what size wheel, you'll get side lugs. They might just be a different size, but if you get this exact tire on a 26, there is no side lugs, and I feel like that takes away a lot of this tire. But if you go smaller than a 26, or maybe if you go bigger than a 35 on a 26, don't know that for sure, you'll get the side lugs. So that's what the gamble was when we bought these for these wheels, and turns out they did have side lugs, thankfully, and I think they look great. This tire is definitely, once again, a mix of a Pioneer and a mud grap, and even like an Aturo. That's what I get from the vibe on the side. It is kind of mud grappy, but at the same time, it's very sharp like an Aturo. And personally, I think these things look absolutely amazing. Some tires, you'll get that kind of cheap Chinese look, but to me, I think these things look really, really good. The side lugs are awesome. They're big, they're angular, sharp, very good looking. They pair well with the wheels, and then of course the main tread, which you are originally probably attracted to, is awesome. So once again, Pioneer mud grap combo, had a baby, turned out great. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Not perfect, but a good looking tire. Now, sizes is obviously very important as well, because if you love the way the tire looks, but they don't make them in the size that you need, you can't get the freaking tire. So these are really good, though, about being offered in some large wheel options as well as small. I think they range everywhere from, correct me if I'm wrong, which I'll do in the post, a 17 all the way to a 26. So that's literally like everything you could ever ask for. Honestly, you're probably not going to want to run this tire if you're one of the boys that like to run 15s. You're probably going to be on a freaking Thornburg or something. So yeah, as far as sizes go, similar to a Gladiator, I mean, what can you give them other than like a 9.5, maybe even a 10? We're putting it at a 10. But if it doesn't go down to an 18 and it's only a 20, which I don't think is the case, it'd be a 9. But for now, with my knowledge, we're gonna do a 10 on sizes. Now, the next category is very important because it's all fine and dandy if they have the size that you want, you order it, but then you get it in and it's not true to size. So you'll find this issue with a lot of Chinese tires. They'll either come in short or skinny, or sometimes both, in which will not give you the look that you're after. Now, most of your big names like Nitto and Toyo, they'll come in true to size. So you get a 35, 12, 50, put the tape measure to it, and it's gonna measure out that. Now, there is the outlier as well, which is actually probably worse than them coming in small, which is like Interco. You go order you a bogger, that son of a gun might come in an inch taller than it's supposed to, which in a case like a level truck here, a 35, true 35 Nitto, that's as big as you're gonna fit without having to cut this thing up. And so you go order a bogger and it comes in at a 36, and dadgummit, you're freaking scraping your fenders and ripping things out, and not good. So honestly, in my opinion, it probably is better for them to come in a little bit smaller than oversized. But do these tires measure out true to height? These things are definitely true to size in the width department. They are all over from this ridge, not even counting the outside lugs, a 1250. If you do the outside lugs, it's probably a true 13-inch wide tire, which obviously is great because you got that wheel protection it looks good. And that's a big footprint going down the road or the field or wherever. A lot of these tires you'll find, they come in short, and that is definitely the case here. From the ground to the tire, that is not even a 34. That is probably a 33. Honestly, 33 and 3/4, a little over 33 and a half, which is crazy. You see a 35 should be, that's kind of crazy, because where's she at? Wow. 35, 1250, 24. So I guess I would have to rate this thing a 7, maybe a 7 out of 10, because that is really short compared to being a true 35. Now, of course, it's got the width there, but not even measuring a full 34, not great. Now, the next category is probably pretty hard for y'all to see because I forgot about it until like 2 seconds before I started this video, but it's simply labeled rocks. Now, this is very important to me because I live on a gravel driveway and I have several trucks with tires that I have to stop every single time I get to the end and pick like 10 rocks out of the tire, because if I don't, rock chips are just going to absolutely destroy the truck. And something like this with some, newer paint, this is 2018, I would prefer it not to get absolutely obliterated. So, do the MaxGrip MT tires pick up rocks? Yes, they do, but they're not bad about it. So tires like the Aturos, Amps on the F2, holy crap, they're terrible. Gladiators are bad about it. Even Mudgraps are bad about it. But typically, the bigger space between the lugs, the less rocks get picked up. So you'll know, little, gravel, driveway gravel. These tires, they don't tend to pick it up, which is awesome. It's going to be the bigger ones, which I guess could obliterate your paint even worse. But as far as like my gravel, these things are really good about not picking them up. 9 right there on that, because they do occasionally pick up some of the big ones, but not bad, not bad. Good. MaxGrip MTs, not bad on the gravel roads. Now, the next category is probably the most important, because you can love everything about the tire, but if you can't afford it, then what does it really matter? Now, thankfully, I think these things are pretty fairly priced. They're not the most inexpensive, but they're also definitely not the most expensive. So I think I paid right at $1,150 for these tires, and that's 35, 1250, 24. I'll throw up on screen what prices I could find for the different wheels, whether a 20, a 22, or a 24 went up or down. I would assume they went down, but sometimes the more popular ones are actually more expensive. You would think the bigger the wheel, the less rubber, so it would cost less, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Either way, I think they're a fairly priced tire. If they were below $1,000, it would just be like insane, but I think they have a real problem with keeping these things in stock already. So if they were cheaper, then yeah, that's why in the first video I was like, yeah, if you want to buy some of these, you better go buy them, because they're going to be out of stock, and then they're going to be like, hey, well, we can't keep them in stock, let's just mark the price up, and that cycle will continue. So I think as of right now, if the prices are still the same as they were when I bought, solid tire, solid price for said tire. So I'm going to give it, I don't even know how you would rank. A Mudgrap's going to cost you, what, $1,800? Can't even get it in this size. We're going to give that a solid 8 out of 10, because there is tires out there that are less expensive. I don't think there's any out there that are less expensive that look this good. I would compare it to a Gladiator. I say a Gladiator looks just as good as this tire, and so we'll throw on screen right here. This is what a 35, 1250, 24 Glad cost, and this is what these tires cost. Now, the next category is an important one, but unfortunately, I can't give that much input on it, because obviously I've only had these tires for a couple of months, put 1,000 or so miles on them, and so I can't really speak on longevity. But if you look at them right now, they still look absolutely brand new. So there's not one of those cases where you buy a tire and then you put 1,000 miles on it and you're like, holy crap, dude, this thing is not going to make it 12,000 miles. Definitely don't think that's the case. I don't know what these are rated for. I know there's never any, like, well, there is a couple. There's usually never a mile like warranty or anything with these kind of mud tires. I don't know. If you're like myself, you'll never see the end because you're always buying, selling, trading, but I would feel confident these things are going to last you 30,000 plus miles without any issue. They should outlast a Gladiator, and I've seen Gladiators go really far. My father-in-law's trail boss, he went like 50,000 miles on his and still had tread. So, rotate them, keep your front end nice, tires are going to last. But I can't say for sure, just simply because I don't have that much experience with them. Now, the next category being sound is a big one for some people, and I guess to a certain extent it is for me as well. But I'm not one of those people that's like, man, I can't stand mud grapplers because they're always roaring, man. I can't be in this truck more than 30 minutes, man. It just drive me. What are we talking about, dude? I mean, I guess some people sensitive, okay? I guess that's the way it is. I could listen to a mud grap all day, every day. I could head to California tomorrow and just grap it all the way there. Now, I will say some tires do have a off-putting sound. I think it was the crosswinds. Some tire I've had, it just made a bad sound. It wasn't that it was overly loud. It just wasn't an appealing sound. So I feel like that is more my categories, like steering, than like the loudness of it. It's just the sound of it. Because a mud grap is loud, but it sounds good. Now, this is a pretty loud tire. I feel like it's louder than the whatever they are, putting them on screen, even though I saw somebody the other day, because those tires were like really quiet when I bought them, but then I saw some people saying that they're stupid loud, and I was like, well, maybe yours are just clapped, or you bought them. I don't know. My experience with these reviews are brand new tires, so lower the tread, the louder the tire, and if you get them like all kind of janky because your front end's clapped, they'll start making different noises. So as far as these tires being brand new, in my experience with them over the last 1,000 or so miles, they got some noise. They're not the best sounding tire, but they don't have that weird annoying hum either. So we're throwing in clips. You're gonna hear them. Enjoy. So sound really does come down to your personal preference, I guess, a lot like the looks. Personally, I don't think these things are annoying. They have a mud tire sound. It's not an annoying sound. It's not a great sound, but it's not overbearing either. So I'll just give it an 8 because, you know, maybe not even an 8 because it's got, I mean, it just depends on how you would rate it. If you want a silent mud tire, then don't buy a mud tire. To me, they're fine. Not a big deal. Not the best, not the worst, not overly loud, not super quiet. 8. Obviously, when you buy a tire, specifically a mud tire, you would expect it to have good traction, but that is definitely not always the case. Tread design does play a huge part when you're in the mud or in gravel or sand or even on the road. Now, as far as on-road performance, these things have been great. They will, and that might be due to the 6.2 in my right foot, spin the tires in the rain. You make it a little off-camber turn, she's gonna cut up, okay? She's gonna cut up, which personally, not a big deal, totally fine to me. I haven't had any experience hydroplaning. I have driven them in heavy rain. They clean out fine. Traction seems to be fine. I've never had to lock them up to like not crash or something, so I don't know about that. But wet rain performance, haven't had any issues whatsoever. Like I said, just a little spinny action, which is probably due to my truck more than the tire. Dry pavement, traction's great. As far as off-road, I haven't had that much experience. We did have a little fun, which I guess I'll go ahead and roll the clip of us getting out here. Now, obviously, the traction that the tires actually deliver to the ground is very important, but you'll find in most cases, driver mod does more than anything. Now, obviously, when we were playing around in that red mud right there, I was just goofing, trying to let the tires spin, see if they would clear out, then giving them some throttle. We actually ended up smoking them, and then they had some heated traction, but you might can see back there, that tire is still absolutely slick still. So you'll find this in a lot of mud tires, man. They will cake up super easy, especially in that red mud stuff. If it's like wet, then it's like goose crap and it's super slick and it'll clean out. But when it's that tacky stuff, that's kind of like super hardcore hard on mud tires, because they will cake up, they'll go smooth, and then you have not much traction at all. So I was just goofing around out there. Obviously it wasn't a big deal. I could have floorboarded it from the beginning, 4-wheel drive. Obviously we were just testing it. So from that little test, I will say these tires, like many other mud tires in that kind of mud, they're gonna slick up, and you're gonna have throttle in order to clean them suckers out. But even with throttle, as you saw, we gave it some pretty good stuff. That back tire is still slick. So as far as like the I don't know how to brain fart, the clean out of the tire in that kind of mud, not great. Definitely not great. You get out on a job site that's got that kind of bull crap, you might have a fun time. But mud graps, even people, you'll see them stuck in with mud graps. They're like, oh, you got freaking mud graps and you're stuck in an inch of mud. Yeah, certain mud, man, is freaking brutal. You get you a little off camber, get you a bump, a little hill, ditch, whatever the case, it can be problematic. But as far as off-road traction, from the little that I've done with them, they're probably just normal. They're not going to be anything that stands out. It's not going to be a bogger that really bites, or, you know, different tread designs have different characteristics. Your bogger, it's going to bite, it's going to dig down, it's either finding the bottom or it's putting your axle on the ground, one of the two, right? A mud grap, they're bad about slicking up just like these things. And so probably that sideways design like that, it's gonna not be as good as you might think. A Gladiator or something is probably better just due to the lugs, the way that they're spaced out. You know, they can really bite more. On road, I would say 9 for a mud tire, not comparing it to a street tire. But for off-road, probably give her a 6. Not great, but then again, most people that buy mud tires don't even typically go in the mud. It's just for the look. So take that for what it is. On-road traction, really good. Off-road traction, you're gonna have to use the little skinny pedal. Now the big question at the bottom is the most important, but as far as the scores go, super solid tire. And after having a good bit of experience with them, I would definitely recommend getting them. I think they're a great option. It's a cool new tire. Your buddies probably don't have them. They've probably never even seen them. And the prices are pretty right to where you can afford them. And the sizes are there. Overall, they look good, like everything about it. I think it's a good tire. Hopefully the wind's not freaking wrecking y'all. I bet it is. It's a good tire. I would recommend it. Just like a Gladiator or anything else, I recommend buying them new. I don't have any experience with some clapped out marketplace ones, okay? I'm sure we all will at some point, but as of right now, don't know about that. That's why I always say, like with Gladiators and things, they can go bad real quick, and there's nothing worse than spending 3/4 of the money to buy a used set that you didn't think was clapped, and it is clapped and it rides like garbage, instead of just spending the full amount and getting a new set. Always, if you can, get a new set. But yeah, the Gripmax tires, MaxGrip MT, they need to work on the name. The name's not great. It's just too much MaxGrip, Gripmax, it's too much. But are they better than mud graps? That's always the question. And the answer is, until they come out with a tire that they haven't come out with yet, which I guess this was an attempt, the answer is no. Of course they're not better than freaking mud graps. The only category they beat graps in is simply price and size. And size, Nitto, please, for the love, I always say this, bigger wheel options. That's all we need. A 35, 1250, 24 Nitto mud grap would break the internet, it'd break the world. It would sell out, it would be forever sold out, it would be amazing. They'll probably never do it. So yeah, price and sizes, they're gonna beat graps on, but every other category under the sun, no, they're not better than graps at all. Never will, never has been a tire. Boggers, Thornbirds, Swampers, none of them. Graps are just the best ever. And yes, there is only one way to properly clean out your mud tires.